So I'm here with Detroit recording artist Big Herk. How you doing today?
I'm good. What's going on, Ryan?
Man, thank you so much for taking the time. Like, I know you're from Detroit. Like, can you just tell me like, what it was like growing up in Detroit?
It was rough. That's the first time. But let me see right here. Yeah. It was rough. But I mean, it's like any other inner city. You from Chicago, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You from the Shire?
Yep. Chicago, south side of
Yeah, it
Chicago.
was a little bit, it had its ups and downs, but I mean, it made me the person I am, so I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, like
The volume, man.
I feel like, Chicago and Detroit, they have like, a lot of like similarities. Like I feel like pretty much like, a lot of the urban cities in like, the United States, they're very similar in like certain retrospects. Like if you went there, like, besides like maybe like a little like cultural differences or like, the way they do certain things, but like they're pretty similar in that respect.
Yeah, especially, depending on the demographic.
Yeah.
If it's urban, inner city, Black people for the most part, we kind of all go through the same ups and downs, you know what I mean, as far as the urban community. So
Definitely. Would you say like you were coming to age in like the 80s? Like, I feel like, when you were growing up, like, pretty much that would be like, your growth of like, coming into like, understanding and consciousness.
I wouldn't say that it's much more so late, but maybe late 80s to the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in the early 80s, I was a young kid. So,
Okay.
it's about, I say late 80s. I was born like 69. So I'm a little older than a lot of these cats. So, yeah, I say about the late 80s, going into the 90s.
Yeah. So like, when I think of like the late 80s, like I think of like NWA, like Ice-T, like, those being like, the groups and stuff that I was like I had cassette tapes, like I would listen to like a lot of like West Coast artists. Like it seemed like that was really big at the time. Like, were you pretty similar? What was some of the people like you were listening to influenced by?
In the 80s,
Yeah.
I listened to a lot of New York rap at first because that was the main thing that was out. I listened to the Run DMCs,
Yeah.
Eric B. and Rakims of the world, Big Daddy Kane's, KRS Ones. And then, as you say, once the West Coast started thriving and they got their recognition and started making noise, it was like you say, Ice-T, 6 in the morning, NWA, Ice Cube, even like in the Bay, Spice One and E40s and cats like that.
Yeah. And how soon before like, you decide like you want to like, start rhyming, like writing rhymes or freestyling? Like, what was it like, that influenced you to like, become an MC and like led you on that path?
I liked it, just like anybody else. You see
Yeah.
something you like, you start doing it yourself a little bit because you're interested in it. We was beating on the lunchroom tables at school. We didn't have money to go to studios and all that, so we
Yeah.
just was freestyling. And like you said, in the lunchroom, the battles in the lunchroom, beatboxers, cats a beatbox or make a beat with the desk. And that's where it started. That's where you start learning, learning, catching your catching your vibe, you know what I mean? So that was before the studios and all that.
And eventually like you become part of the group Rock Bottom. How did that like come about? Like,
Actually, we had a group before Rock Bottom. I was in 2 different groups. I was in a group called RDO with my man Maggie Mag, who is Rocky Bad's father. I don't know if you're familiar with Rocky Bad, but if you pull a Rocky Bad music, she make a lot of noise here. She a female rapper.
Mhm.
I mean, her father used to be a group. And then after that, I got with my boys from the hood, Jay Nutty, my man Thrust, rest in peace to Thrust, and Charlie Picasso, when we was the Rats. That's when everybody had acronyms for their names, stood for Rebels Against the System,
Okay.
not snitching rats, Rebels Against the System. So we did that first, and then I started doing the Rock Bottom thing after that because Rock asked us to be part of the compilation he's putting together. I knew Rock from school, so I knew him prior before he even asked us anything about rapping. We all knew each other from junior high school and that type of thing. He was putting together some music. We were just working at that time, just trying to make much noise as we could and put out music. So I was like, bet, let's do it. So that's where that came about.
And what was like the music industry scene in Detroit? Because like I feel like, it has this historical legacy, obviously, of like, being part of like Motown, but like, Berry Gordy had obviously, left at some point, gone to like Los Angeles. And what was like the music industry? Was there a lot of opportunities for like underground hip hop artists like to
You say when again?
yeah, like
At what time you said?
yeah, what was like the music industry, the scene, like, in this period in the music industry in Detroit? Because like, I feel like, stuff, obviously there had to be some kind of like music industry scene because of like, Detroit being so significant in the music industry, like historically, like, you think of like groups, like the labels like Motown. So what was it like
Right.
during the period?
You talking about when I was rapping with Rock Bottom, that
Yeah,
era you
yeah,
said.
yeah.
Um, I mean, it had been guys before us that made a lot of noise. Like Austin Dre, he was signed with Priority. That's the company that signed NWA and Ice Cube.
Right.
You had Boss. Boss was like the first or second female ever signed to Def Jam. I mean, so this was in the late 80s, early 90s. So it was people already making noise. So those were some of the people that we also looked at and got our inspiration from. But they was the earlier cast before, but even before us. So the Austin Dre's, Detroit Most Wanted, Boss, Smiley, Merciless Amir, Jada the D, rest in peace, Chaos and Maestro, Jack Frost. I mean, we just keep going. So there was some people before us. They was making noise, but we didn't have them but the box. Remember the video jukebox? We had that. There wasn't no video shows at the time. So if you wanted to see something, you had to get on the jukebox, check that out. And it just kept getting, it kept elevating. Excuse me, kept elevating more and more and more. Because Berry Gordy slang, once he left and went to Cali, it felt like it was like a Motown curse or something for a while. We didn't really get a lot of notoriety and a lot of looks from the industry as much as it was back in the Motown era. Because, they ran the music game then, Motown and Berry Gordy. So it kind of felt like, okay, let's back up off these Detroit guys for a minute and start doing stuff everywhere else. You know what I mean? So we had a hip hop foundation, but it was real primitive. It was young, and it wasn't like it is now with social media and all that. Even with us, we didn't have social media. When I was a Rock Bottom, that came out after us.
Yeah, but they still were able to like, have a lot of independent success like these albums, because like From the Bottom Up, some people say like it sold like 200,000 albums, which is a lot. Like those are physical units, which isn't like the same. And like From the Bottom Up, like like it still had like a lot of like independent success. Like these albums, they were able like to like move physical units, which isn't like the same, like, like streaming, like today, everybody puts like an emphasis on that. But like, you guys were actually moving like physical units by,
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we really was hungry, man. Back then when I came up, it wasn't even about money because there wasn't a lot of money to be made, honestly. Even the major artists who had major deals, they weren't getting the kind of money these guys get. So it was more about a respect thing and notoriety more than it was financial gain. We just wanted people to know we really can do this, just like New York, just like LA, just like wherever. You know what I mean? And it was about showing people you dope. Let's show these cats we can rap, man. You know what I mean? More so than the money. Now I think it's kind of like the opposite. People get in it because they see you can get some money. And a lot of guys, they really don't be working on their craft as much. They kind of put it out there. They get a following. They do whatever they got to do to get their page going or people to follow them. Put out the music and they get it like that. We had a long rap. Yeah, we didn't have social media. So, like, everything you had to do in person. It wasn't no go check out my video or what's your email? Let me send it. Even though it probably might have been some form of emailing back then, maybe I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But we wasn't into it. So we would have to physically take copies to the mom and pop stores, physically go do in stores. Everything was done, you know what I mean, with your hands. It wasn't and your feet work. It was a lot of foot to the ground type of stuff. So it wasn't like just sitting at a desk and you can email stuff. A lot more physical work. You know, nobody really was trying to check for Detroit like that at the time. So you steady fighting that to get people to even come back and look at Detroit again. So it was a hard grind, but I'm glad I was able to come out in that area because it taught me that the rest of the stuff kind of like a breeze, and I can kind of school my own family members, kids, nieces, and nephews if they want to do music to how to do it. Because back then it was a lot of grit and grind, man. You know what I'm saying? But technology is supposed to get better. That helps everybody. But at the same time, you know, it's good to understand that we came from the mud for real. I hear people say that a lot. They got out the mud. We got out the mud.
Right. Like, I think like, a lot of that is kind of like missing like today, like, the whole DIY, like, do it yourself. Like, a lot of people and stuff like have like a lot of emphasis on like, technology, which is great. There's like, but like, in your era, like, wasn't that simple because like, we didn't have like, all the technology where it's like you could just sit at home and record a song and like, kind of get it out to people and stuff. Like you actually had to like, go to a studio. It was so much involved. Can you talk about like, what was like the difficult part of like, that aspect of like, like grinding, and getting it out the mud?
The thing that's crazy is we didn't even look at it like, oh, this is hard because that's what you had to do.
Right.
You don't think nothing is hard till you look back. You know what I mean? And see where you came. Like, oh man, back when we did it, it was way more rough. So at the time, it is what it is. If you want to do this, this is what you got to do. You got to go to the pressing plant and get this stuff pressed up, CDs and wax, and you know what I mean. Cassettes, even we started even when the cassettes was our cassettes, and it was more labor. You know what I mean? More footwork, more getting there, being personal with people, meeting them and greeting. It wasn't just on the phone and talking to people. If I wanted to meet somebody and talk to them in Cali, we'd have to fly out there. You know, it wasn't no Zooms like we doing right now. You know, all this stuff is new stuff, man, from the area we came from. So that's how it was. So we didn't ever trip about it. It just now that things have gotten easier as far as us promoting and getting stuff to people. Now I can look back in hindsight and say, man, we really did work hard, you know what I mean, to get to where we were at. So that's it.
And you did 2 more albums eventually with Rock Bottom, Alligator City, and Who Is Rock Bottom. And then I guess you decided to go solo. Can you talk about like, those projects and then eventually decided to go solo?
Well, actually, I didn't even go solo. I just went and did a solo project.
Right.
And I guess, they had an issue, or Rock or whoever had an issue about it. So they went and did the blow on their own. So, that's how that went. So that made it official. Once they did that, I'm just going to worry about pushing my music. You know what I mean? So that was it.
Definitely. So, like you've like, been like, part of the a staple of the Detroit underground scene, collaborated like, with like, so many like legendary artists like Slum Village. Can you talk about like, that experience?
First off, rest in peace to Jay Dilla, man, because he was
Yeah.
he was the heart and soul of that. You know what I mean? And as well with a lot of other artists in the industry, from Tribe Called Quest to Busta Rhymes and everybody else. So shout out to Jay Dilla, rest in peace to him. And it was a great experience, man. First of all, I knew Elzai anyway. I knew Elzai before they even became Slum Village.
Right.
We know some mutual people, so I knew about them rapping years ago before they actually became Slum Village. But it was a great experience, man. We had a great time putting that song together, and MC Bree was on that song as well with us. Me, MC Bree, Elzai, and I think it wasn't Batien, because Batien wasn't there no more. And Jay Dilla passed, but that was the guys we did it with, the 2 that was left out of Slum Village. So it was a great experience, man. Great album. I think they had Dwelle on that album, and I think John Legend's on that album as well. Yeah. So it was a nice album, man. Good time. Good working with them, man. Good guy. They solid people. And they've been making noise for a while, so it was love, all love.
Most definitely. Like, one of the cool things is that you're a actual playable character on the Def Jam Icon video game. Like what is it like, having like your own video game character based on you?
It was kind of a mixed emotion thing because I didn't know they even did it first. they got a character of you on the Def Jam Vendetta? I said, huh? So I went and looked at it. Actually, it had me and KDZ from Detroit. He was on there. And at first I was kind of like mixed emotions, but I was kind of like, okay, that's cool. But then I'm like, wait a minute, they ain't asked I didn't get them the okay to do that. Right. So I kind of was almost finna go to a legal level with it, take legal action. But my manager was like, look, it's good promotion. It ain't like Def Jam Vendetta is doing like Fortnite or one of them kind of, it's just out billions of copies are being sold. So we just took that as a compliment and a respect thing. And I only think it's out now. So that was more of a thing where I let it be what it's going to be. It was respect to a degree, but also like, hey, wait a minute, y'all didn't ask me about this. But the respect level was there. So that showed you that it was a lot of respect, and I never talked to them. So I guess they got wind of it from the dealings I did with Shady and with Interscope and, with Eminem and so that's how that happened, I guess. But, it is what it is. I ain't mad about it. Much love.
Man, and you mentioned like, Shady and like that brings up like the thought about like Detroit versus everybody. Like, you're on that, like, can you talk about like, Detroit versus everybody?
Well, I'm on two different ones. I'm on the one that the remix that Trick put together. That's my bro too. Shout out to Trick. The remix that he put together with a lot of different cats from the city. And then I also did one. We actually did the other one before that one with my man Will Lucci, Austin Dre, Trader Boy Malik, Seven the General, and a host of other cats, man. A lot of other cats, man. So I was on two of them. So it was a good experience. Let me know the respect. Definitely, because everybody was calling me. Hey, we doing it. And then it started being like 3 and 4 and 5 different ones. I said, listen, I'm getting on these two, and that's gonna be it for me. I ain't gonna floodgate everybody's. But those two it was nice, man. It was a good look. Much love to everybody that was part of it. This is Detroit history.
Yeah, like I feel like today, like, like Detroit, like now is considered like a staple in like hip hop history, like, being part of that legacy. Do you feel like, your work is paid off? How do you want to like, your legacy to be remembered as like, a Detroit rapper?
My legacy is just we always been original. We trendsetters, bro. Where I came from. You know what I mean? We trendsetted all this stuff, everybody's saying what up though and this and that. Something we've been saying for 30, 40 years, man. Now you see it in TV shows and other people that start saying it. And we did it because we love the art of this music, man. That's the thing about the era I came up in. Wasn't no whole lot of money like that, like I was saying earlier. You just wanted people to respect you as an MC and as an artist. So my legacy is just being true to the culture, man, being true to me. And, doing something that's only, you know me when you hear me. I'm original, bro. I don't follow nobody else's pattern. Everything I did was me. You know what I mean? So that's it.
And what do you feel now about like just the current state of like, music in Michigan and, what like current artists are doing? Like, there's a lot of people and stuff carrying on like, the movement and, expanding up on like, what guys like you started.
I think it was good. It's great. It's a long time coming. Like I told you, it seemed like Motown kind of left and we got cursed or something. Once they left and went to California with the Motown thing, when rap started evolving, it's almost like they looked over us for a long time. If we was good with the Motown movement, which is more like R&B and soul and that type of stuff, what made you think we couldn't rap? We musically inclined. That's why Motown had all them artists like that. But I felt like they was giving somebody else a shot, like Motown and ran it so long. We're gonna do something else before we come back to Detroit. So it was just a matter of just trying to push and push and push and let people know we dope, bro. Quit sleeping on us. Come here, check us out. We got talent here. Cause they was dancing around us, going everywhere. Chicago, Cleveland, we got bone with it. It's like they was dancing around Detroit for a while. But now the floodgates is open. Some of the artists getting looks and getting an opportunity, including my sons, they rap. So, what I mean? It's good for everybody that the doors is open. People starting to come here to actually look for people, So it's a good look. I love what's going on as far as that part of it, you know what I mean? The opportunities and all that is definitely big. And Detroit is in the we in the limelight right now, even with movies too. most of the Tubi movies are Detroit movies.
Yeah,
So
like
Detroit dominating Tubi, so it's a good look right now. I tell everybody all the time, take advantage of it. To the younger cats when I get to talk to them, I tell them take advantage of this, man. We worked real hard back in the day just to get people to even come here and notice people, much less signing people, you know what I mean? So now it's the flood. They come to Detroit first. I got a lot of cities to look for talent. So it's good. It's a good look for the whole city, man.
Man, with that going on, a lot of people have been talking about like how, the rising real estate prices in Detroit because people have been coming in, putting money into the area, but it's causing the cost to go up and forcing people who were locally growing up there to move out of the downtown area and the midtown area. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, that's a plan. That's a plan they've been implemented to try to do, man. We know that. I could talk all day and get into that's a topic for another day, but that's politics. You know what I mean? You know how they do it, raise the price, make people leave. They can come back and, take back over. Now I'm starting to see a lot of different people all through the hood. It ain't like it used to be. A lot of the houses that people were living in, now they tore down. So, it's a trick bag with that, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that want to buy a lot of the property that's, African American or black people, however you want to put it. A lot of times they get denied, and then you turn around and look, and there's somebody else in there. The other nationalities is getting opportunities to buy the properties and buy the houses and stuff. So, that's part of the game with that. I don't like it, like I say, because I like Detroit. I'm not one of them kind of cats. If I got big, I'm just gonna rush to move out to the suburbs, and I like the city. You know what I mean? I've been here all my life. I'm comfortable here, even if I got another house out in the burbs or somewhere else or another state or whatever. I'm always gonna have a house in Detroit. So I think got a lot to do with a lot of politics, man. The water and different things going on in different people's areas. So that's what that is.
50 Cent, he recently announced that they're going to be doing an 8 Mile TV series. Is that is a pretty good thing, to go on, for Detroit? I don't know if it's gonna be filmed in Detroit. Does that make a difference, you think, if it is filmed or if it's not, but it depicts Detroit?
I mean, it depends on how it's done, but to me, everybody keep thriving on 8 Mile. People that don't live here, they don't understand 8 Mile is just a borderline, bro, between the hood and the suburbs. There's some parts of 8 Mile now, don't get me wrong, where it's urban. That's more toward them going toward from Wyoming or Livernois down, from Livernois on down, like towards Southfield. On that side, on the right side the east side of 8 Mile. Everything else is like trailer parks and all that down the other side of 8 Mile. So, the movie was a success. Him and M did that. So, I'm quite sure some people gonna definitely tune in. I like what he did with the BMF and things like that. That hit home more with me. You know what I mean? We from the hood, so we'll see. But I ain't knocking nothing he done. So far, he been pretty good. Everything he do with Power, with all the different Power series, BMF. So I'll be interested to see it. I wouldn't mind seeing what's the premise gonna be. So good luck to him, and I hope it work out for him.
And Detroit, you mentioned I feel like a lot of times when I think of Detroit, I think of the urban part of Detroit, especially I grew up reading Donald Goines, and a lot of his books were it's set in Detroit. And it's they had kind of these mythic stories. I remember it was this one book I read, and it was I think it was El Dorado Red. And where he was talking about selling heroin outside, the hotel room.
You got a few of them.
Yeah. And stuff like what's it like, growing up in an area though, where a lot of those stories are actually based in accuracy and truth, which made them popularity and popular, but that's still that same air of danger kind of.
Yeah, like I said earlier, when you first asked me how's it like growing in Detroit, I told you it's rough. So a lot of that stuff is part of it, man. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid when a lot of that was going on, but I was out here enough to understand it. I was around the whole YBI era. I know a lot of them personally. A lot of them is like uncles to me. I know some of the Curry boys on the east side. best friends. You got different people that we grew up in the 80s, man, 80s, 90s. Them eras was rough, man. You know what I'm saying? I think the best musical era was the 90s, though, honestly. But yeah, man, it was tough. My Donald Goins is telling you some real tales from the hood. You know what I mean? These wasn't fictional tales. A lot of them was inspired by true stories. So
You said the best era for you was the 90s. Like, you know, who were some of the top artists from the 90s for you?
some of them was 80s into the 90s, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I told you, mid 80s going on and still was doing anything in the 90s. But the 90s to me just had so much versatility with music, man. Everything now is like trap music, drill music. You know, you hear a few exceptions like the J. Cole's, Kendrick's.
Right.
I'm saying, but back then you had a lot of more conscious stuff. You know, anything conscious. Back then we had Public Enemy. You
Right.
had, like you just said earlier, NWA. If you want to street shit, Ice-T, Ice Cube, Tupac, Biggie, Nas, Jay-Z was young, but he was on the rise. Then all the West Coast stuff started pouring in. You know what I mean? DJ Quick and different people from that era. South started coming in. You know what I mean? The South guys started getting their notoriety to like the early '90s to the mid '90s. So it's floodgated with different music. You got backpackers like Tribe Called Quest. You know what I'm saying? De La Soul. You know what I'm saying? That type of rap. It's not a lot of variety right now. Everything's kind of one or two things, you know what I mean? And I liked back then when it was more variety. Plus, you had the sexual stuff with Luke Skywalker. If you want to see something like that. But now I look at some of Luke's video, we thought they was real raunchy, man. These girls now the way they be doing videos. Now almost like a Bible school or something. Luke's videos. It's way more raunchy now.
Yeah.
I
Just
think it was more variety.
You were talking earlier about your son raps. Didn't you guys just drop a mixtape, the father and son mixtape, The Bloodline?
No, we did that a few years ago, but it is out. Yeah, we did. We been did that. They dropped a new CD. Both of my sons rap, not just one. Young Herk and Baby Herk, aka Juan Weezy. But Juan Weezy, aka Baby Herk, and Young Herk, they got a project out there streaming called Sibling Rivalry. So make sure you check that out. Sibling Rivalry. Yeah, they both on the cover of it, like they're squaring off for a title fight or something. It's called Sibling Rivalry. So check that out. It's dope, man. It's something different. Like I say, they more into lyrics. My sons don't rap about dope and guns and drugs, really. They didn't have to do none of that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't let them do that type of shit. I was in the streets myself, you know what I'm saying? Caught cases and went through different stuff. So my sons played football.
Yeah.
They won state titles at Cass Tech and stuff like that in football. And then they started rapping as slowly, like a maturation process. You know what I'm saying? Then they started letting me hear it because I never was do what I did. I wasn't one of them kind of parents make the kids rap like because I rap and try to live my dreams to my kids and I let them do their own thing, man. You know what I'm saying? They just like they picked up on it because they're around a bunch of people that rap all the time. Yeah. They seeing all the greats, different cats that's icons in the city because they seeing them around me. I deal with a lot of these cats, so they meeting people all the time. They started doing it and they got good at it. So go check out, you know what I'm saying, Young Herk, Baby Herk. They got solo projects and videos all on YouTube. So check them out.
Most definitely. What would be your advice, to people who are interested in pursuing a career in music? Because like obviously, like you have like years of experience, like from the era of like where people actually bought physical copies, and then now like, even like being involved in like the internet type era as well. Like do you feel like you have any insight like you could add that that you've learned over all these years?
Then you got to be consistent, and you got to have thick skin. Because a lot of people, they really feel like their stuff is, at some kind of level, and it's where when they get next to somebody who really do it, they're gonna find out, nah, you got work to do. So just because a door get closed in your face, don't give up, because it's probably 2 or 3 waiting to open up for you. Just have thick skin, take constructive criticism, because sometimes people tell you they don't like something, they're not hating. Something about the younger era, they think every time you don't agree with what they do, it's hate. I heard, oh, they hate, they hate. No, it's not hating all the time. Hating is when something is undeniable.
Right.
And only one person's not, you steady knocking and the whole world know this is fire. That's hate. Some people might not like what you like. You know what I mean? So work on your craft, be true to your craft, always work hard, try to always improve. Never make a song and think you're the best in the world because you made a good song. Try to top that song, even if you can't. Be humble, but be confident. At the same time, you gotta be confident. You're an MC and you rapping, man, you gotta feel like you dope. But when you get around guys that's in a position to help you, learn to listen. One thing my grandfather used to say before he passed, rest his soul, he always instilled in me, is you got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Period. That's his slogan. And I really take that to heed. You know what I'm saying? Everything I do in life, really. Listen twice as much as you do talking. A lot of cats, they talk, think they know everything and don't know shit. So listen and learn. Be a student of the game. Have tough skin. Be to take constructive criticism. And first of all, get in it because you love it. Don't get in it because you watching videos. You think, oh, that's the way I can get rich. Which it could be that too. It's still business, but you should love what you do if you're going to be an entertainer. You know what I mean? Wow. So love what you do and just be, consistent and work hard, man. Never give up your dream if you really want it.
Most definitely, man. Big Herk, that's amazing. Like, what's next for you in the new year? It's just like turned to 2024, January 8th. What you got planned for the rest of the year?
I'm working, about to drop a new project soon. I've been working on a movie completed for 313, the remake. I'm familiar with the first project, 313, we did in 2005. We redid it. That'll be coming out. The premiere, the premiere for that is April the 21st. Roll low, so that's coming soon. I got another movie we just got through reading the scripts for. We finishing getting all the budget together for that. And just working, man, and doing music, doing movies. Movies is my second passion, so I'm really gonna start getting more into the movie thing. We did a couple, like I say, way before a lot of other people even did one, and I kind of took a hiatus. So now I'm back, going back hard with the movie thing, and that's it, man.
You're acting in the movies, directing them. Like, what are you doing?
Acting, and I wrote a couple of movies, but the movies I wrote, we didn't put those out yet. That's something I'm still working on. But I've been in about 4 or 5 movies. I've been in movies with Clifton Powell, AJ Johnson, Yup Mouth. Go see 5K1, man. When you get a chance, go check out 5K1.
That's wild.
That should be on Tubi or one of them sites. That's we did that like about 2008, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've been acting. I've been doing the movie thing. I just stopped for a while.
Man, that's amazing and stuff. What's it like working with Clifton Powell, man? That's a legendary actor right there.
Oh yeah, that's a mentor, man, because he's a solid brother. You know what I mean? And he gave us a lot of nuggets, man. He told us a lot of stuff about different things in Hollywood and how he moved. Because we always used to say like, why you ain't in a lot of the movies with some? Because they want you to put that dress on, man, and all that. He cut the camera off and told us a few things. He like, well, don't. I'm gonna tell you some stuff, but I don't want it on film. I want to film. And we sat up and listened to him about 30 minutes, explain different stuff and how it worked. Solid brother, man, because Clifton Powell is one of them kind of people, he don't really turn down too many roles unless something gets his integrity. Because you'll see him in a B-list movie, and then you'll see him in something like Ray.
Yeah.
With Jamie Foxx was an iconic classic movie. You know what I mean? Then you'll see him in Minister Society and this and that and Fridays and you know what I mean? So he gave us a lot of nuggets, man. I got a number of respect for Clifton Powell. Much love to him and solid brother.
Man, it made me think about Cat Williams. He did that recent interview with Shannon Sharp, and he was basically calling out the entertainment industry about a lot of the shenanigans that goes on behind the scenes. Did you check out any of those clips or you
Yeah, we all been looking at that. That's viral right now. That's the hottest thing smoking right now.
Yeah.
So when he do his next stand-up comedy or whatever his next show, it's gonna be off the chain, man. I think it's good promo for that. Whatever he doing next, because everybody gonna tune in. So, but at the same time, he wasn't lying, man. A lot of stuff he said is truth to it. So I'm even looking at even beyond what Cat Williams was saying. I'm looking at people like Taraji P. Henson and how Monique and Herk keep complaining about Oprah and different people underpaying them. And these are facts, man. You know what I mean? So Holly Weird It's a little different, man. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem working and doing anything business wise if it makes sense to me. I network like that, but it's something I just won't do. My integrity is different than a lot of people. Money don't make me. It's different situations. I done turned down already now. I could probably be rich if I was just a backstabbing type person, but I don't do that. You know what I mean? So, I think Hollywood is a good look, but at the same time, it's a lot of dark corners. You know what I mean? So,
Most definitely, man. Big Herk, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate you.
much respect, Ryan. And make sure y'all remember, man, when y'all get to hear about Rap Snack chips here, I was the first with his own Rap Snack potato chip. Don't forget that too. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
definitely. What flavor is yours? Rapid Snap.
Hot sauce.
Hot sauce. Okay.
And
Definitely.
the reason why I mentioned that because I was on Instagram earlier and I saw the guy who owns Rap Snacks. He had stopped for a while because he was kind of bellying up. He wasn't really making money like he needed to keep it going. But now he going back hard again. Guess he got a little backing and he about to put out a whole new launch of Rap Snacks. So I might even tap in so they can relaunch my chip again because I was the first one. I had Rap Snack chip. What year was that? Like 2006, 2005? Yeah, about 2004 or 5, actually. Yeah, I had a Rap Snack chip in stores and everything. But once again, no social media, no YouTube. It wasn't like I can get on my page and tell everybody, go over here,
Right,
check it
right.
out, or post it so you can see it. Either you heard about it, it was word of mouth. But it was a good look too. They reached out to me, so much love and respect to them, man.
That's lovely, man. Big Herk, man, like, Detroit hip hop legend, man. I'm honored, like, for you to take the time, man. Your music, like, and stuff is definitely like, played a part in my life. I love like listening to like dope artists from the D. Like, we would get like, like tapes and stuff and everything. Sometimes you wouldn't even know who the artists were. You just be like listening
Right.
to the music and you find out later now because of the internet. So like, it's dope, like, what I mean, to connect with you. And I appreciate you for taking the time. Let me ask you this question though. Like, because like so Rock Bottom, like Eminem has that on his first album, you know what I mean, and stuff, everything. But like, it seems like you did the Rock Bottom before that. Do you feel like he borrowed that from you, or is that like a homage, or like, what I'm saying, it's just a similar?
That's just a coincidence. Because Rock Bottom has been around before we became
Yeah.
the camp Rock Bottom. Rock Bottom just meant struggle. I'm coming from Rock Bottom. We came in. I've heard that term way before we even did the
Right.
music. So I don't. And then he reached out to us and showed us respect on the song he got with Trick Trick. And he said, "Rock Bottom, I see you, Cheddar Boys, I see." So he been knew about what he was doing here, and that's when he was on top of the game. He was the
Right,
hottest
right,
thing in
right.
the industry. You know what I mean? So no, I don't take it like that.
Definitely, man. That's love, man. Big Herc, man. Detroit legend, man. I appreciate you for taking the time.
Much respect, Ryan, man. Keep doing your thing, man. We got to follow up, man, when I get the album and all the movies and all that come out.
Definitely.
So, and make sure you go get my new song, Born and Raised, streaming